The coastal state of Bayelsa, long hindered by massive wetland and myriad creeks and rivers, has gradually emerged as a perfect example of democratic breakthrough.
I and members of my team have started on a journey of turning an economy such as Bayelsa around. You all know the situation of things when we took over slightly over 2 years ago. The state of insecurity, the dilapidated state of our infrastructure, and the efforts we are making to turn these around, the investment drive that has now become a focal point of our government, and all of the things that we are doing.
The twin issue of integrity and leadership will likely be prime points of most evaluations. To these effects, the architect of the new era, Governor Seriake Dickson, has kept his word on establishing a paradigm shift in the culture of governance with greater emphasis on transformation and sacrifice.
For the use of all humanity to the glory of God. Amen.
Amen.
Today, the restoration government has regained the trust of the people. The poor perception of the people of their government has given way to optimism as development projects in Yenagoa and across the length and breadth of the state have connected communities that were hitherto unreachable. Governor Dickson and his team have been implementing the blueprint for rapid socio-economic development as contained in the restoration agenda, which has promoted unprecedented investment in infrastructure with a goal to modernize the state and stimulate growth.
We have started on the journey of opening our state to the world. And what we have told ourselves is to take Bayelsa to the world and to bring the world also to Bayelsa.
The agenda, which Bayelsans have come to know and appreciate, was targeted at restricting governance, creating a culture of transparency and accountability in government, and diversifying the state economy. The administration of Governor Seriake Dickson declared a state of emergency in the critical sectors of the economy on assumption of office in February 2012.
I promised, among other things, to work hard to diversify the resource base as a means of creating a sustainable economy. In the course of my campaigns, as I crisscrossed the length and breadth of this great state and interacted with our people, I saw firsthand the challenge that the economy would pose if not properly handled. And this was why when I took office, I declared an emergency in education as a way to guarantee a sustainable economy, to guarantee that in the future economy, which is knowledge-driven, our people will not be left out.
He declared a state of emergency vis-a-vis free and compulsory education for both primary and secondary schools.
Free education, especially for the needy ones. I think it's a very, very commendable project, and it's a very good initiative by the government. It's always good to see that the government is indeed interested in its own people.
We started to renovate about 400 dilapidated structures and also 400 headmasters' quarters. As I'm talking to you now, almost all are completed in all the nooks and crannies of the state.
To the best of my knowledge, is the only governor that has declared state of emergency in the education sector. And they have not just declared state of emergency through paperwork, but in action.
So presently we are building 9 model secondary schools plus St. Jude's. These are one in every local government headquarters. Yenagua BDGS. You go to Nembe NNGS, you go to Brass, you go to South Niger Proma, you go to Ogbea, go to Sabama. In fact, in all the local government headquarters, we have one model schools. Now, what are the structures in these schools? We have very spacious big classrooms. We have also accommodation to make for boarding. We have dining halls. Then we have ICT labs, because that is our emphasis. All our children must be computer literate. Then we have structures for all the 3 sciences: chemistry, physics, biology. That is the labs, including agri-science. We have library. Then we have also quarters for our teachers. This is what you are going to see in all the 9 model secondary schools that is presently undergoing construction. We also realize that the state is riverine. So we need to also bring education to the doorsteps of our children. And so in every constituency headquarters, we are also building 1 model school each. We have 24 constituencies in Bayelsa State, with 1 extra in Southern Niger. Because of the size, we have 25 now. So we are building dining hall, classroom blocks, guest hostels, boys hostels, ICT, laboratories in all these 25 constituencies I'm telling you. As I'm talking to you, job is progressing, work is in progress. We've signed an MOU with Canadian authorities. In Canada, there are experts in in teaching, Finland, all those places, So they are coming down here to come and join our experts to retrain our teachers. We'll be turning them in and out. By the time we take just 3 per school, because we have a lot of schools all over the place, we'll have the needed number. So the question of they are in session, how are you going to train them? It's not the question. Our schools are in session, we'll be training our teachers. We will train them on dressing codes, train them in specific subject areas in the sciences, also in English language, in computer, and other relevant areas to give credence to our educational system.
The Governor and I have been discussing his commitment to education, to the development of the people, the human resources of this state, and I'm so pleased that Canada is able to participate and to form a partnership through Teachers Media, a Canadian firm that's going to be working here, training teachers with quality educational materials and also the technology that's going to allow them to reach thousands of teachers over the coming years. This is the key to the future of this state, as it is the key to the future of Canada too.
The governor immediately commenced massive construction of capital projects because he noted that Bayelsa was backward in physical development compared to other states in the Niger Delta region.
So I've declared emergency clearly underscores the point that the infrastructures were weak as well as inadequate. Because there are 2 different things. Infrastructure could be weak and adequate. But in this case, they were both inadequate and weak. And that was the essence of the state of emergency.
Under the Dickson administration, Yenagoa, the state capital, is being transformed, and the mission is to make Yenagoa a city that will be globally recognized with modern infrastructure and appreciable aesthetics.
There was a master plan. People were afraid of implementing that master plan, but the governor came in and said, look, make sure everything we are doing is in consonance and consistent with the master plan. So in that direction, we have to open another ring road that is running from Igbogene down to AIT, from AIT to Sani Abacha Road, and run straight to the first flyover we are building in this state now. Now, that road is under construction, where I think we are about 35% completed on that road. Now, the Igbogene Glory Drive was also a single carriage, in fact, almost dilapidated. We have to re-award that contract. That road is also being dualized. We've also awarded the contract to dualize 6 high-profile roads, because if you look at it, between Yenegua Road and the Azibodo Road, that is what we call the main Yenegua. That place is really congested. In fact, it's almost a slum. So what we wanted to do was to create a new area for an urban area, because renewing the old slum would be very expensive. So on that note, we have awarded contract for 6 high-profile roads. We call them, temporarily we call them Road 24. which is opposite Prosco, Road 38, which is almost also opposite Prosco, close to the headquarters of the Mobility Command. Then we have Road 30, which is opposite the Ayala Hotel by the Pansha Market. You have Road 27, which is opposite Nickton Road, somewhere there. Then you have Road 31, which is opposite to Chocho, and you have Road 28. All these roads are dualized.
Work has since begun on the project, among them several road constructions such as the Ekeremo-Sagbama Road, the Isaac Borough Flyover Bridge on the Express, the Azikoro Express Road, and the Sania Bacha Express Road.
What we need to dualize that road safety road. Data Smith Road, the same thing, we have to dualize that Data Smith Road. We also have to dualize the Waterboard Road. We have also dualize the FMC, what we call the Hospital Road. Now, we have also expanded the Radri Road. That road has been expanded. And so you can see that if you are driving to Government House, you can see that that road has been expanded to the PA Creek. Now, to link the main Yenegua to the other island of PA, which we have called the New Yenegua City, and that's a new city the governor is going to launch in February 2015, we have to create a bridge there. That bridge is about 35% completed, and that bridge is also going on. Now, the governor also promised that before he leaves office, he will hit the Atlantic from three fronts in Bayelsa State. And to do that, we need to construct the 3 Central District roads. And so those projects are going on. As I speak with you, for the first time in the history of Nembe, people can drive successfully to Nembe now. That is a feat we achieved within this period while we're in office. Also, the Yenego-Poroma Road, we have asphalt about 11.4 kilometers now. We are on the first bridge, major bridge, which is about 40 meters span. We're working on that. Now, Sanfilin is continuing to Agobri, where we'll have the next bridge of about 160 meters span. Then after that bridge, we have about 9 to 10 kilometers. Then we'll actually be at Oporoma, where we'll do the last bridge that's about 700 meters span. I can tell you, since we came into office, we were undertaking the combination of the kilometer of road that are under construction are about between 200 and 250. In addition to that, we have bridges that we're also constructing. Again, there was also a lot of death of public buildings. For example, some commissioners had no quarters to stay. Some, like this office you are now, this is a brand new office that we have just moved to just within this week. We met just 3-4 secretariats in the state, 2 annexes, 1 old block, and then the HSDickson block. Those were what we met. So for 18 years, for about 16 years, Bayelsa State was able to have 4 secretariat annex, 4 secretariat blocks. But in less than 2.5 years, we have 4 additional. So what previous administration achieved in a period of 17 years, we achieved that in 2.5 years. So that's to tell you the emphasis we have given to infrastructure development. Now, there's a major bridge that is linking Bayelsa Central to Bayelsa West, and that bridge is at Ogobri and Beni. That bridge we have completed within this period. That bridge was actually started by His Excellency Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, GCFR, while he was governor of this state. That bridge, immediately he left office, that road was abandoned for several reasons. First of all, lack of attention and security reasons, because the expertise that were working on that road were being kidnapped, so they abandoned the project. So they all left. We brought them back. When we came into the state, there was no major contractor, construction company that was in the state. None. Julabega was ran out of the state. Setraco ran out of the state. Okmas was out of the state. Dantata was never here. CCC was never here. And Okmas also was doing very skeletal services here. But with the coming of this administration, we brought back Julabega. I know what it means for Julabega to mean in the place. In addition to that, the governor in 2012, during the Borough Day, promised that he was going to get a road to Borough Town, a town that was established by Chief Mafodokilo in 1980, while he was the governor of then Old River State. Nothing happened about that road. Nothing happened about that project. We've not only done the road to that Borough Town, we've also built up the necessary facilities that will make that a Borough Town to become an effective town and an institute. As I speak with you, the pavilion is completed. Staff processes are completed. The administrative block is about 70% completed. The library project is going on, and then the next we need to construct now are the lecture theaters. And so as soon as we do that, that place is set. In addition to that, there is also a plan to have a housing estate there, so that that Borough Town becomes an effective town. Now, we also give emphasis to youth development, because that's a key component of the governor's agenda, because our youths are the future leader. And so if you don't have a youth for that will be future leader, then you have actually mortgaged your future. So we have also set up a youth development center that is the first, I think, in Africa. I've not seen anywhere it is. You need to go to Kayama. It's right there in Kayama. And you get there, you see that it's a multi-billion naira project. And we're also using it for the NYSC orientation.
The Dickson administration is determined to provide the infrastructure necessary for tourism development.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of tonight's competition, Emperor 2014, all the way from Yenagoa, Bayelsa, please welcome Miss Aquima.
We have become the headquarters of entertainment and tourism. From music festivals to jazz festivals to fashion parades to all of this. This state is where those who want to invest in the tourism and hospitality industry need to be. That's why we have set up the schools, to be able to train middle-level manpower that will service that vibrant industry. We are preparing our state for life without oil.
Yenagoa boasts of an international airport among other projects aimed at boosting tourism in the state.
Security is a major incentive why people need to come to Yenagoa. This is the only state where you have a dispatch security system, professionally run, depoliticized, that will respond to challenges within 3 minutes, and it is all computerized and recorded. This is one state where we are talking about electronic surveillance backed up by law. So Bayelsa is safe. Now, safety is the first condition. Security is the first condition you meet if you are serious about promoting prosperity and development.
We inherited a very precarious situation, security-wise, and through shared leadership, exemplary leadership, strong character displayed by His Excellency, and the vision with which we came on board, has been able to reverse a very bad security situation, stabilized it, and maintained it the way it is in such a way that it has attracted all kinds of visitors, investors, tourists, and even Bayelsans who either couldn't come into the state to live, to come back from diaspora. Because of the priority placed on security, to be able to deliver other deliverables promised to the people of Bayelsa State, and the need to coordinate security activities, operations by the various security agencies operating in Bayelsa State. The Security Coordination Center, the first of its kind in Nigeria, was conceived and put up by His Excellency, Honorable Seriake Dickson, to ensure that we have a befitting place to coordinate the activities and the operations of the security agencies operating Bayelsa, to create an enabling environment for Bayelsans to go about their God-given, express their God-given talents, and enable the administration deliver the deliverables promised the people of Bayelsa at the onset of this administration.
There is a 5-star hotel, the Tower Hotel Conference Center, a befitting polo club, as well as the golf course and house. Governor Dickson has undertaken the construction of a new governor and deputy governor's office, a new government house clinic, a cultural center, among others.
We do have the adult services. We have the children's services, which is the pediatric services. We have the dentistry. We have laboratories. We have radiology service. We have the dentistry service there. We have the cardiology. As you can see, we are well equipped to meet those needs when it's required at this present time. But as you can see, we're still under construction and hopefully to complete and be in service fully.
Among the projects in the state capital include the Dr. Gabriel Okara Cultural Center in Yenagoa, which attracts tourists to the state. The School of Music, which stands out in the capital, a health facility, the Diagnostic Center in Yenagoa.
The Modern Diagnostic Center is a state-of-the-art facility that was constructed by the Restoration government from the scratch. It is built in the 500-bed hospital premises. It has a 160-slide CT scan, which is about the most modern in the world. In addition to that, you have a 1.5 Tesla MRI. That also is the most modern. These are Toshiba equipment. You have, in addition to that, a digital X-ray from Kodak. You have a digitalized mammogram. You have 2 endoscopy suites, and this endoscopy is for minimal trauma to the patient, while you are able to see all the internal organs and diagnose very serious problems that are internal. And then you have what we call echogram. This echocardiography, is for the heart, to be able to see the functioning of the heart. We have stress ECG also, and these are all very modern state-of-the-art equipment. Now, when you go up another floor, you have the hematology, the chemical pathology, the microbiology, and all the equipment in this suite. They are all state-of-the-art. You also have immunochemistry. Now, the entire diagnostic center is built with a concept that now many of our patients seen in our tertiary institutions have to go outside the state to do many of these more complex diagnoses like CT scan, MRI. But when we have these more complex investigations all centralized in the medical village, which is the 500-bed hospital area, then everything that has to do with medical diagnosis and treatment can be completed within the premises of the 500-bed.
The State Secretariat Complex, and of course, the driving school.
We're in a hurry for development. This state needs collaborators to push on the frontiers of development. These roads are profitable because we will concession them. We need people to come and work with us on the Nembe Brass Road. We will start it. We need people that will come and work with us on the Keremo Abbey Road. We will start it. We need partners because these are areas where our real wealth, which is beyond oil and gas, lying in the Atlantic, is.
The people are witnesses to the fact that the current administration came into office under very challenging circumstances and a harsh political environment such that less determined leaders would have buckled. But the spirit to succeed thrived, and Honorable Henry Seriake Dickson stood out to make a difference.
Bayelsa has arisen. Bayelsa is working. Bayelsa is ready. Bayelsa is safe. And above all, Bayelsa is now ready and open for business.